this kind of a discussion, this kind of a conversation in which is very rational, in which questions are being posed, in which positions are being taken, where the attempt is to find a definition which has a universalistic nature. Now, this kind of conversation is called dialogue by Socrates. So the person I was referring to was Socrates, whom you would find in the book, the compilation which was written by Plato, called Dialogues. And the name of the dialogue is Meno, in which it is shown that knowledge is already in us. And if we ask the right questions, then the knowledge gets expressed. It is retrieved from the person. So knowledge is not something which is gained from outside. That's the assumption of Platonic dialogues. And Socrates, or the dialoguer or the teacher, is then a sort of a midwife who helps the student to retrieve that knowledge from his or her own self. Now, a similar position is taken in Upanishadic dialogues. So, for example, there is a very popular dialogue about Nachiketa, in which this young boy is offered to death, and then he is standing at the gate of the god of death, and then he is blessed with 3 boons, and he asks, "Tell me, what is beyond death?" And the god of death tells him, no, don't ask such stupid questions. These are too difficult for a young boy. Why don't you ask for life, money, prosperity, position? But this boy is steadfast. No, I want to have this knowledge. Now, this is quite a different position. Even though in both there is a young teacher, a young student, and an aged, realized teacher. But in one, the teacher is helping to retrieve knowledge from the consciousness or from the self of the student. Whereas in the other, the knowledge is being bestowed upon the student. So Imran, that is what I meant by form and content, how they both are important. In both, the content is about knowledge, about something supreme, something universal. But the form is different. In one, the questions are being asked to help the student realize his or her knowledge. In the other, knowledge is being bestowed, but the attempt is also, the final intent is to realize your own self. That's the difference between the two. So this idea of dialogue, this form of dialogue, where people engage in rational questions, which may or may not be rooted in certain assumptions, are different. For example, in Socratic dialogue, you can question the assumptions. So, for example, there is a dialogue in which the conversation begins that a man is going to file a lawsuit against his parents, that they are not doing the virtuous thing. And then Socrates asks, "What do you think is virtue?" And the conversation begins from there. So a very small starting point, but which has deep assumptions. But they are not always spiritual assumptions. Whereas in the Upanishadic dialogues, the assumptions are generally spiritual, even though they may also begin with small things. There's a very interesting dialogue in Upanishad. I'm forgetting the pronunciation. Brihad Aranyak Upanishads. So there, the young boy is sent to the forest with a lot of cattle, and he's told that they should become 300 and you should come back only then. And the boy gains knowledge in the forest. within those animals. So such examples highlight how knowledge can be gained anywhere, but you have to be a worthy student to gain that knowledge. This is a major assumption in Upanishads. Whereas in Socratic dialogue, there are no such assumptions. Because anybody can do reason. So if you can reason, you can have dialogue.